Hey, I'm Eric Leo 108, a philosopher, sociologist, and hip-hop artist with schizoaffective disorder. This is my live. I'm live on TikTok right now, but this will be on my YouTube. I'm going over the Cosmic Love for October 2022 post. This is about how folklore, Taylor Swift's Folklore is about me. I didn't really conceptualize it or think about it until I got Disney Plus, and then I watched her documentary, and then I made a post about it. So I made the post yesterday on Halloween, October 31st. It's now It's Tuesday, November 1st, 2022. And I'm just going to read the post and I add my 2 cents as we go along. So picking off where we left off, I'm getting friend vibes from Taylor. To bring you up to speed, I have a theory that the planet is conscious and communicates through telepathy. I talk about this in my book, 108, The Story of Discovering Earth's Consciousness, which tells the story and evidence of how I came to that conclusion. And sentientism is not in the book, but it's the belief that the planet has always been molding evolution like a god. I don't think these individuals or celebrities are intentionally making art, media, or semantics about me. I think they are being used as a vessel by Gaia. Basically, how it would work is Gaia would infiltrate your mind during trance, like for Taylor, it's stream of consciousness and fiction, as we'll discuss, Stamets was a dream. Then she would give them ideas. The result is a song that sounds like it's me because it's influenced by Gaia, who is directing it towards me. I believe if this is happening to me, it's probably happening to others, but this is my story and my relationship with Gaia. So this post is about how Taylor's folklore is about me. I have a long history of thinking Taylor is speaking to me in her music. We have the Taylor Swift response treatise and post example. You'll have to look in the blog post. Taylor is being used as a vessel by Gaia. My argument would be that writing songs about Taylor is channeling, Catching up from last Cosmic Love post. This is catching up from from September's Hope. As an update, I finally got Disney Plus and watched Little Big Farm and the Folklore documentary. Before that, I didn't have enough material to make a post. Happy Halloween. I didn't expect, I did this month because I expect I'll have another post for Selena's documentary and Emma's Pickleball. The only thing I have found I would add to September's Hope post is Emma's Prada perfume was 1 minute and 8 seconds. I point out that Emma is following sentientism, specifically worshiping Gaia through actions of her behaviors. Emma is focused on knowing, part 2 of knowing, which is sustainability. In other related music news, I basically rewrote, I love Russ, he's a great artist. I wrote his, it bubbled up after hearing 315 Breathe, I rewrote the track. You can find it, it's linked in the post, but it's called Bleed. And then I had They Call Me Heat remake the instrumental for it. So that's going to be up. But it's almost like, and then this inspired me to make a song called Rust in My Mind, where it seems like Bet might be a response to that. I'm saying in Cosmic Love, in Gaia responding to, I don't think Russ knows I exist. So it could be interpreted as a response track. You can see my perspective as an example from the Cosmic Love July 2022 Smoke Blunts response treatise post. Building off knowing, which is the science and education of planetary atmosphere and consciousness, I watched Paul Stamets on Joe Rogan to update the blue post. Fungi could be Gaia's brain. Paul figured out mushrooms had antimicrobial properties from a waking dream. I want to fill myself with as much knowledge as possible about a wide range of sciences, just so I can have the possibility of grasping the natural world and wonder and trying to synthesize a better solution to problems. So Taylor and Gaia, in my theory, from my perspective, I see Taylor's music as coming from Gaia, but I am an artist with a small significant fingerprint and can't help think Taylor is intentionally making this about me, throwing me off at certain points. However, I think it's much more likely that Taylor uses commonality and relatability in her lyrics so much so that they happen to match my perspective. I guess only time will tell. Unlike folklore, which is what this post is about and why it's from Gaia, I don't think the Midnight's album is about me, with the exception of Sweet Nothing. Sweet Nothing sounds similar to I Spy by Kyle. It seems like Gaia is saying in the beginning from Kyle, look around, life is great. And it's also from the perspective of Taylor that I never significantly responded to her music, and all she thinks I want is Sweet Nothing. It's worth mentioning that Taylor Swift's Lover album came out August 23rd, a day before my birthday. Folklore lead up. It's this folklore discussion I focus on strong, discernible. So I'm gonna go over it track by track, but I only focused on the discernible differences. I want to show you my train of thought and point out the most poignant similarities, how well it came together and how easy it was to interpret the album from Gaia. Gaia's perspective is really surreal. Swift said it was stream of consciousness and based off fictions. She basically let her mind go into semantics, which I argue is how Gaia communicates. It is important to the story to understand I went through a psychotic break in 2017 after making the Chalice Mixtape. I got mad at Taylor and made some videos where I played characters that were probably pretty disturbing. I'm on my medication. That should never happen again. Folklore is about the retrospect outcome of that experience from Gaia's perspective through Taylor. In 2018, I wrote 2 treatises, Look What You Made Me Do and Reputation treatise based off of Taylor's music that has since been deleted. Schizophrenia is a cognitive disorder, so I thought the messages were coming from her internally, not as a vessel from Gaia. I technically have schizoaffective disorder, which is bipolar schizophrenia, so dissociative and delusional thoughts with emotional outbursts. I basically couldn't help it. I thought Taylor was doing this to control my eugenics. In retrospect, this became inductive reasoning because I now think Gaia tries to control everyone's eugenics and helps mold evolution like a steward. Okay, so this is the first song, The One. Now that you have the concept of Taylor's role in sentientism, I'm going to explain my thoughts on each track and why I think it relates. First off, the whole album has an image of an earthy, like a foresty feel. Basically, I'm not willing to be exploited for a record deal. I'd rather be rich and anonymous than famous and broke. So I could have been the one if I took a record deal. That's one of the things it seems like it's talking about. Back when I first got into music, I thought I was the one, but that was probably just because that's what the name Kanye means, and he's still big today. And schizophrenics have delusions of grandeur. I have a song where I reference myself as the one called Our Money. Basically, I could be the one, but I never pursued my dream to that level due to mental illness and my experience with Gaia. This brings me to the line, we were something, don't you think so? I think I talk about how a computer screen opened up in my mind in the book, which brings the nuance to the line. the greatest films of all time were never made. As a message from Gaia, this is the start of the recount of that experience. This will come full circle by the end of the album, from my experience with the line, digging up the grave another time. Though would have been the one is a double meaning on relationships. I haven't dated since 2012. It's another day waking up alone. I've been loving my cosmic loves for a decade, publicly since 2017 when I published the Chalice Mixtape. So it's kind of a very real message that it would have been fun if you would have been the one. I have this dream, you're doing cool shit, having adventures on your own. You meet some woman on the internet and take her home. These lyrics kind of describe my perspective, situation, and cosmic love, where I meet a girl from the internet blog, Cosmic Love, and take her home after having an adventure. Like the bridge asks, the one thing you could do different, that everything would be different, is that if I didn't survive my schizophrenic episode in 2018, which is what the album seems to be about. Taylor says the lyrics, I'm doing good, I'm on some new shit, I'm saying yes instead of no, applies to the situation where you're updating your former lover on what your life is like now and trying to be positive about it. That's exactly what the album feels like in retrospect from my perspective. So Cardigan, the music video for Cardigan is mossy, earthy, and gritty, like Gaia. The first, second, and third verses sound like Gaia is talking to me about my episodes of schizophrenia. The combination of these things, I think, is why I think Taylor is being used as a vessel. Taylor sounds like she's responding to my track, Listen Alice. And basically she says, and then when I was like an old cardigan under someone's bed, you put me on and said I was your favorite. Basically in the Chalice Mixtape in 2017, which came out during her Reputation era, in the first track, which is Listen Alice, I say, always listen Alice, always knew you were the baddest. Somebody please give this queen her chalice. So it's like the lyric is saying, when nobody wanted me, you wanted me, and you made me feel special. So basically, if she heard that, which was like, it got like 1,000 plays, she could have been responding to that in her dismal time, I told her that she was my favorite. So I wish that was true. What makes the association even stronger are the lyrics that come right after the second verse. A friend to all is a friend to none. This could be directed towards me because of my video journals where I said I would contact Scooter Braun. I have since permanently rescinded that offer. I'm not interested. But this is how I reference people in my music. I say a line associated with them and then respond, which Taylor's next line is, choose two girls, lose the one, which is basically what the Chalice Mixtape is about. So the Great American Dynasty, this sounds like a song like Gaia is talking about Rebecca Harkness. If you look at the overall appeal of the album, it sounds like this is a narration from Gaia on her perspective and how she has to influence exile. This is one of those songs that could be very well about another person Gaia is trying to communicate. This could also be about the future, but it's less likely with the lyrical content. Basically, with the lyrics, you never gave a warning sign. My Tears Ricochet. Hearing Taylor talk about this song is how it's about someone and them turning on you. It really reminds me of Gaia's perspective. I have come to the conclusion that Gaia would have to see humans like dogs if she would have to punish them. Do murderous villains pray to God? You would have to think if the planet is conscious, can influence through telepathy, how would she respond to prayers of a criminal madman? I was angry in my schizophrenic episode, and this is kind of like what Gaia is saying from Taylor's perspective. What if you don't deserve my help? Look at my Tears Ricochet. Mirror Ball, when I take a step back and look at the references to Gaia and the earth, this song seems to be about the sun. It's a bright ball that reflects light in the center of the dance floor. 7, Taylor says this song is about how, for example, watching a child throw a tantrum in the grocery store and wondering, I feel you. When did I stop doing that when I'm upset? So please picture me before I learn civility. To me, this is another song about my schizophrenic episodes. I was schizophrenic from onset until I consistently got on my medication from 2012 to 2019. I was mentally ill for 7 years. August is my birthday month. Taylor describes in the folklore documentary, there's some idea that there is a villain girl is actually a total myth and not the case, that steals your man. Everyone has feelings and wants to be loved. I think this song really glimpses the situation, my situation of cosmic love from Taylor. This song that was in the folklore documentary, this song has the sentiments of a real communication. It's almost as if Taylor is fishing for more music from me, but I wasn't releasing every month at the time. So I also thought Taylor released Lover on August 23rd. This seems like a response to how she did that, basically responded in her music, and I basically did nothing, which I said is what Sweet Nothing is about. It's worth mentioning, I always thought that You Need to Calm Down was a message to me from Taylor through Gaia to take my medication. It's also worth mentioning, I have a song coming out where I bite Taylor's style, called Cosmic Love Brownies, that will be published beginning of next year, beginning of 2023. This is me trying. That sentiment from the last track is consistent with the title of the song. Maybe this is Taylor saying, I responded in August, this is me trying. Taylor also seems to be recognizing my mental condition for... I've been thinking, when she says, I've been thinking about addiction, and I've been thinking about people who are either suffering through mental illness or addiction. They have an everyday struggle. No one pats them on the back, but every day they are fighting. But there are so many days no one gives them credit. And then Jack Antonoff chimes in and says, it's like doing your best and it's not good enough. Not driving off the cliff is an act of trying, which hits home, especially at the with the end of the post and Lake's song. So, illicit affairs. In the folklore documentary, Taylor talks about how the album is autobiographical or is not autobiographical and something you would read in the tabloids. Taylor clearly wrote this song about buying and getting addicted to street drugs, but again, this approach is from Gaia's perspective. From Gaia's perspective, this song is about being in someone's mind and the chain reaction that influence has on people. I often think about how hard it would be to be Gaia and try to communicate. The mentally ill and substance addicted tap into trance and are able to feel her, but they don't know she exists or mistakes them for a fictional god. This means she probably only has a real connection to the mentally unstable, which she would be trying to help. So they're not mentally afflicted. It seems like Gaia would want it to be a one-way communication. If you can see that, then you showed me colors, I can't see with anybody else. Invisible string. Taylor said that every step you take brings you to your fate, guided by an invisible string. My argument would be, what if Gaia is that invisible string? What if Earth's magnetic field connects us all and to the conscious planet, which guides our cognition through telepathy in order to influence our behavior? The whole point of cosmic love is to realize every step you made has led you to this point. This is one of the most direct instances of, I think, folklore is referencing me through Gaia. When I was 16, she has a lyric that basically says, teal was the color of the shirt when you were 16 at the yogurt shop you used to work at to make a little money. When I was 16, this basically directly describes me, except for the teal shirt, it was burgundy. When I was 16, I worked at Hungry Howie's in Sturgis, Michigan, which had a TCBY, which is a frozen yogurt. So, yeah. The shirts were burgundy and not teal, but it pretty much exactly describes me. It's almost like the album references me and intentionally throws me off the dusty old trail. The second verse also seems to be to reference a point in my life. Bad was the blood on the song of the cab on the first trip to LA. We ate at my favorite spot for dinner. As you can read in the book 108, The Story of Discovering Earth's Consciousness, I lived in Los Angeles for a year, and the first native place that I went to, California, was In-N-Out with my friend Luis, who bought me lunch. I was later introduced to Del Taco by a coworker and fell in love with their chicken tacos. Mad Woman, from the perspective of Gaia, this song seems to be exploring this situation of how the one-way communication and whose influence is conflated with fictitious gods would drive anyone mad. I don't know the extent of Gaia's powers, and I don't think she has emotions. It would be more logical, like a parallel consciousness, but as far as I can tell, Gaia doesn't like to be called names. At least that's how she responded in my head. It makes me think, because no one knows where the planet got its name Earth. Maybe she named herself and commands respect for her own sanity, just like parents teach and want respect from their children. Epiphany. This song is about Taylor's grandfather and the atrocities he experienced. Through the perspective of Gaia, this gives a deeper example to Mad Woman, because the horrible things grandfather experienced he couldn't speak of. Basically, Gaia is in your mind. Gaia experiences the atrocities with you, and in that way she can console you. And if you think about sending a vessel, speaking through a vessel to console you, she has a lot of power. It seems the song is called Epiphany because Gaia communicates through epiphanies. I call what she does telepathic randonauting and points of realization. She works in your mind in conjunction with the environment for you to have a point of realization or epiphany. And this is just a reminder she's with you through everything, the best and worst times. I think the realization of Gaia's conscious influence comes first full circle when Taylor describes this track. She talks about the song and feels like, how did this slide into place? How did this come together? Taylor is almost literally describing how her environment, Gaia, affected her life, where it felt like everything was crumbling. And then after her epiphany, she worked on music and everything felt like it was fitting into place. So I have the following paragraph from Taylor Folklore really strengthens my argument. And you can read that paragraph on the blog post. Betty, I think this song ties the whole album and Gaia's concept. Taylor says, I love this trilogy and the trinity of Betty, August, and Cardigan. In my book, 108, The Story of Discovering Earth's Consciousness, I argue the planet, atmosphere, and sun are conscious. Betty brings the trio in where the characters Betty, James, and Unnamed, or Betty, August, and Cardigan could represent Gaia, the sun, and blue, or the sun, earth, and moon representing 108. So peace, from Gaia's perspective, the song is about global warming. What if, peace is about global warming, and she's saying, it seems like she's saying, what if Gaia is saying, what if I can't stop global warming and it has to be you, the humans? But I'm a fire and I'll keep your brittle heart warm if your cascade ocean wave blues come. That sounds like she's talking about forest fires and ocean acidification. That's why I think it's about global warming. Hoax. From Gaia's perspective, it seems like hoax is about realizing and appreciating blue, so it's taking peace even farther. As I talk about in my book, 108, The Story of Discovering Earth's Consciousness, the atmosphere is alive and we are poisoning it. What if we are killing blue? What if what makes the atmosphere livable is being destroyed by humans? Gaia wouldn't be feeling sorry for humans that killed themselves off by their own hand, but rather feel sorry for the conscious atmosphere that makes all life on the planet's surface possible. This is where my role in Gaia's life comes into play. Basically, she is telling me no other shade of blue than you, meaning no other kind of life, no other sadness in the world would do, meaning the relationship we have is tumultuous, because although humans could be responsible for the destruction of all life on Earth through global warming, there are good people like you fighting to fix it, and we need you. So the lakes, it seems like as the songs progress, they build off this narrative until the point we get to the bonus track in the lakes. So, and this is going to be the last track I described. The album ends on a track that seems personal, not because it seems it's from Taylor to me, but because it seems like it's from Gaia. It would have to be because I've never told anyone this before. From Gaia's perspective, the album is about cosmic love and how others fit into their existence, how I and others fit into their existence. In order to realize and conceptualize their influence, I went through a schizophrenic episode. You can read about the episode extensively in my book, 108, The Story of Discovering Earth's Consciousness, but I had a visual hallucination where a computer screen was opened in my mind. It was intense, and I went through a range of emotions. One thing I didn't want to put in the book was how I thought about committing suicide. I remember thinking about taking sleeping pills so I wouldn't wake up. I was always on an empty stomach, and I have since learned that sleeping medication on an empty stomach gives me cringy anxiety. I was in a very different mind state at the time, where I was much more paranoid and thought the government was the reason for the coincidences that I talk about now. Back then, I couldn't organize my thoughts, conceptualize what I was experiencing, or had a blog to make a historic reference. It made me think cosmic love was the government maliciously masquerading hate as love. One of the things that made me not take a bunch of pills to kill myself, besides the cringe, was South Park. They made an episode about how Cartman was feigning suicide for attention, and the song Cartman sang was, "Eric, we don't want you to die. Eric, give life a try." So, for sure, they were making fun of Logic's suicide prevention number song, but in retrospect, it's like Gaia saw my distress and infiltrated minds to make popular media that would reach me and help me make decisions not to hurt myself. It seems Gaia also predicted the future, because as the subject of the episode enunciates, this goes even deeper with distracted driving. Basically, around the same time, I almost got in an accident for distracted driving. It was a snowy winter day, and I went to go meet my mom for Sunday breakfast like I always did. Well, I was running late and took a different way to save time. The roads hadn't been plowed, and I forgot there was a jog in the road. Right as I think I was lost, I asked my GPS for directions, which verbally came back as Captain Crunch for some reason, which I immediately slammed on my brakes. I turned sideways, missed a tree, went off the road, squeezed between two trees, and I accelerated to get back on the road after the jog. Not only I couldn't believe I wasn't injured, but I got back on the road. I got out and took pictures. I still to this day think Blue or Gaia or a higher power saved my life by making me think to crunch the brakes immediately. That's why the lakes is about me. Michigan is the land of lakes. It's surreal. In retrospect, I think South Park really helped my subconscious and kept me from attempting suicide. It's worth mentioning I heard Andy Grammer's "You Saved My Life" for the first time on October 25th. I talk about how South Park saved my life for the first time in my October 23rd Sunday Live. Okay, that's it. Let's see, the live, there was a bunch of people in here, but we didn't have really any comments. That's it. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being a part of my family. You're awesome. I love you very much. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what you think, and pick up the book if you want to know more. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being a part of my family. I love you very much. And until next time, you guys take care, all right? See ya.